Single dad found a crying nurse with her baby in the rain, unaware she'd lost everything but hope. The rain that night wasn't just rain. It was the kind that erased footsteps, swallowed voices, and hid tears so that no one could see a broken soul trying to survive. Adam, a single dad, rushed home with a bag of leftover groceries, unaware that fate had placed someone in his path, someone who had already hit rock bottom and was clinging to hope by a single thread. But destiny often begins on nights like shouldn't have been there. He heard it before he saw anything. A soft, trembling cry. Not the cry of the rain. Not the cry of a grown woman. A baby. Adam stopped mid-step. His heart hammered, instinct kicking in, because once, long ago, he had stood in the rain with a newborn in his arms too, crying for help no one heard. He followed the sound. And then on the clinic steps, a place supposed to save lives, not destroy them, sat a woman soaked to the bone. Her scrubs clung to her trembling body. Her hair was plastered to her cheeks. Her hands were shaking as she tried to shield a tiny baby under a thin blanket that was already drenched. The woman looked up, and her eyes told Adam everything. She wasn't just cold. She wasn't just scared. She was finished. Completely defeated. Holding on because she had to for the tiny life in her arms. Lightning cracked across the sky. The baby whimpered again. That's when Adam stepped forward. He raised his hands slowly, voice steady. "Miss, are you okay? Do you need help?" She flinched as if the words hurt her. Then she shook her head. Then nodded. Then whispered something that chilled him. "Please don't call anyone." No mother sitting in the rain, clutching her baby, says that unless the world has already turned against her. Every part of Adam wanted to rush forward, scoop the baby into warmth, and shield the mother from whatever nightmare she was running from. But he remembered something. People don't end up like this without a reason. "Are you in danger?" he asked carefully. She held her baby tighter.
"No, not like that."
I just don't have anywhere left to go." The words cracked. Her voice broke. Her shoulders shook. The rain wasn't hiding her pain anymore. A small hand slipped from the blanket, a tiny palm turning pale from the cold. The baby gave a weak cry. That was the moment Adam stopped thinking. He shrugged off his jacket and wrapped it around the baby first. Not her, the baby. And that simple act made her tears fall harder. "You don't even know us," she whispered. "Doesn't matter," Adam replied. "No child should be out here. No mother should be." Heartbreaking confession. She tried to stand but failed, knees buckling. Adam caught her before she fell, guiding her back to the step. Her voice shook violently. "I didn't do anything wrong," she whispered. "I swear, I didn't. But they threw me out anyway." "Who?" Adam asked. She looked away, unable to say the word. Finally, she forced it out. "The hospital." Lightning lit her face, red eyes, cracked lips, soaked lashes, devastation. Adam's stomach twisted. A nurse. A baby. Thrown out into the rain. Something was terribly, terribly wrong. "Let me get you out of the rain," he said gently. "No, I don't want to trouble anyone." "It's not trouble," Adam said. "It's human." She stared at him, searching his face for cruelty, judgment, danger, anything. But Adam was a single dad.
He knew that look.
He'd worn it himself. "Please," he said softly. "Let me help." After several trembling breaths, she nodded. And that was the moment her life and his shifted for. He lifted the stroller with one hand and supported her with the other as she tried to walk. Her legs were shaking so badly he could feel it through her soaked scrubs. "What's your baby's name?" he asked. "Ava," she whispered. "My little Ava." Just saying the name made her lip tremble. Adam swallowed hard. He couldn't imagine what this woman must have endured to end up alone in a storm, clutching her baby like a shield. Destiny hiding in the rain. As they left the clinic steps behind, Adam didn't look back. He didn't know the woman he was helping had been framed. He didn't know she'd lost her home, her job, her safety, everything in a single day. He didn't know powerful people were searching for her. He didn't know her world had collapsed so violently she had nothing left except the crying baby in her arms. He only knew one thing. Tonight, A stranger and her baby needed him. And sometimes, destiny enters quietly, cold, trembling, and crying under the rain, waiting for someone brave enough to say, "You're safe now." She entered his home shaking, exhausted, and hiding a truth that could destroy her life and his. A home too small, yet big enough for hope. Adam pushed open the creaking door of his cramped apartment. The heater buzzed weakly, the wallpaper peeled at the edges, and the entire place could barely fit 2 people, much less 3. Yet tonight, it felt like the warmest shelter in the world to the crying nurse who stepped in behind him. The moment she entered, her knees buckled. She held onto the doorframe, trembling from cold, fear, and exhaustion. "Sit," Adam urged. But she didn't. She hesitated like someone who felt unworthy to be anywhere warm. The baby who should have been asleep. Ava squirmed in her mother's arms, letting out a soft, desperate cry. The baby's lips were turning blue from the cold. Adam didn't ask permission. He grabbed an extra blanket from his son's old crib, the one he refused to get rid of, and wrapped it gently around the baby. The mother swallowed a sob, watching him with a mixture of disbelief and relief. "You're very kind," she whispered. "I'm just doing what anyone should," he said. But both of them knew not everyone would. A name spoken like a wound. "My name is Adam," he said softly. "And my son, Leo, is sleeping in the next room." The woman nodded, but didn't introduce herself. Her fingers clenched around Ava, as if releasing even her name would make her fall apart. Finally, after a long silence, she murmured, "I'm Maya." But she said it quietly, like someone who wasn't sure she was allowed to exist anymore. A woman holding back a flood. Adam handed her a towel, a cup of warm tea, and an old hoodie from his closet. When she wrapped herself in it, it swallowed her frame. She looked like a ghost wearing borrowed hope. "Maya, do you want to tell me what happened?" he asked gently. Her lips trembled. She shook her head violently.
No.
"If I talk about it, I'll break." Those words told him everything. She wasn't just scared. She was shattered when kindness feels dangerous. Maya's breathing sped up. Her hands shook so badly, the tea almost spilled. You should be careful," she whispered. "You don't know me. Helping me could get you in trouble." Adam frowned. Trouble from who? She looked away. That silence was louder than thunder. It was the kind of silence that meant someone powerful was involved. Someone dangerous. The story she didn't want to tell. "I didn't do it," she whispered suddenly. "I didn't steal anything. I didn't hurt anyone. I swear." Her voice cracked, and tears gathered again. "I tried to report what I saw at the hospital, and they turned on me. They accused me, fired me, kicked me out." She pressed her hands to her face. "My landlord didn't believe me either. He changed the locks. I had no money. Nowhere to go. Nowhere." She choked on her breath. Adam didn't speak. He let her finish because she needed to. "They dragged me out of the hospital like a criminal. In front of everyone." She looked up at him, eyes burning with humiliation and grief. "I lost everything in a single hour. The nightmare she ran from." "Who framed you?" Adam asked quietly. Her entire body tensed. She glanced toward the window, as if expecting someone she feared, to appear. "A doctor," she whispered. "He was involved in something illegal. I found out. He told me to stay silent." Her throat bobbed. "I didn't." Adam felt anger spark in his chest. "And he blamed you?" Maya nodded. "But he's not the one I'm afraid of." Adam frowned. "Then who?" Her voice dropped to a trembling whisper. "The hospital director. He'll do anything to protect his reputation. He doesn't care whose life gets destroyed." A chill ran through Adam's spine. The fear of being found. Maya suddenly stood. "I shouldn't be here," she said, panic rising. "If they're looking for me, if they find out where I am, you and Leo." Adam grabbed her trembling hands.
Maya.
"Stop. You're safe." "No," she whispered. "I don't think I'll ever be safe again." Ava started crying, sensing her mother's panic. Maya sank onto the couch, tears pouring down her face as she rocked her baby. Adam crouched beside her. "You're not alone anymore," he said quietly. "Not tonight." A single dad's promise. He didn't know how to fix her life. He didn't know how to fight the powerful people hunting her. But he knew what loneliness felt like. He knew what it was to be abandoned by everyone. And he knew he refused to let this woman and her baby suffer another minute in the cold. "You can stay here as long as you need," he whispered. Maya froze. "No, I can't do that to you." "You're not doing anything to me," he said firmly. "I'm helping a mother who needs help. That's all." She covered her face with her hands, shoulders shaking. "You don't even know me." "I know enough," he said. "I know you're a good mother. And I know you're telling the truth." Her sob broke then, a painful, grateful, exhausted sound. A new beginning she didn't ask for. As she slowly calmed, Maya whispered something so softly Adam almost missed it. "Thank you, no one has believed me in days." And that was when Adam realized this wasn't just a woman in trouble. This was someone the world had abandoned. Someone who desperately needed a second chance. Someone who'd stepped into his home carrying nothing but her baby and the last fragile piece of hope she had left. And he would not let that hope die here. Not in his home. Not in his arms. Not tonight. She tried to repay him with chores and silence, until the truth she was hiding broke through the walls she'd built. The morning after the storm. Sunlight crept through the thin curtains of Adam's living room, touching every corner with a warmth the night before had tried to steal. Maya sat on the couch, clutching Ava, her eyes swollen from crying but awake. Too awake, like someone who hadn't slept out of fear. Adam walked in quietly, but she still flinched, tightening her grip around her baby. He paused. "You don't have to be scared here," he said gently. But fear wasn't something she could switch off. It lived under her skin now. A mother who forgot how to breathe. Ava cooed softly, finally warm, finally safe. Maya looked at her baby with trembling lips. "I'm sorry, my love," she whispered into the tiny forehead. "Mommy will fix everything. I promise." Her voice cracked on the last word. Adam watched, heart tightening. A mother shouldn't have to promise survival. She should be living it. Guilt in every movement. She stood suddenly, as if sitting still was a luxury she didn't deserve. "I should clean," she murmured quickly. "And cook. And wash the dishes. And—" "Maya," Adam interrupted, "you don't have to do any of that." "I need to," she insisted, almost panicking. "I can't just sit here while you help me. I have to make myself useful." That word, useful, stabbed through him. Who had convinced this woman that she had to earn the right to exist? The silence that revealed everything. While she scrubbed dishes with trembling hands, Adam noticed something. She never turned her back to the window. Never let Ava lie too far from her. Never relaxed her shoulders for even a second. She was still running, even inside his home. So he approached gently. "Has anyone ever helped you before?" he asked. She froze, then shook her head.
No.
Her voice was barely a whisper. "No one has ever helped me without wanting something in return." A question she couldn't answer. "Why were you alone last night?" Adam asked softly. Maya didn't look up. She scrubbed the same plate for too long, hands shaking harder with every second. "I wasn't supposed to be alone," she said finally. "But people disappear when you stop being useful." The plate slipped from her hand and shattered. She gasped, stepping back as if expecting him to yell. Adam didn't move. "It's okay," he said gently. "It's just a plate." But to her it wasn't. It was proof of how fragile she felt. His son saw what adults missed. A sleepy voice echoed from the hallway. "Dad, who's crying?" Leo rubbed his eyes, tiny feet dragging across the floor. Maya tried to hide her tears, turning away. But Leo had always been more observant than kids his age. He walked straight to her, looked at Ava, and said, "Your baby can share my teddy bear. It helps when I'm scared." Maya's breath caught in her throat. The kindness of a child. Sometimes that's what breaks adults the most. A secret she couldn't carry alone. Later, when Leo went to school, Maya finally sat down. But she didn't speak. She stared at the floor like the truth was a weight she could no longer hold. Adam sat beside her. "You're safe here," he said for the 100th time. But this time, the words cracked something open. "He said he'd ruin me," she whispered. "The doctor. When I reported him, he cornered me. He told me that if I dared speak again, I'd lose everything." Her hands twisted together. And he was right. The director who would burn lives to save his own. "It wasn't just the doctor," she continued, voice shaky. "The hospital director protected him. They deleted evidence, made the blame fall on me, spread lies so fast I couldn't keep up." She looked at the door, as if expecting someone to burst through it. "They know I disappeared. They'll think I'm hiding something. They might come looking." She swallowed. "I don't want you or Leo involved." Adam clenched his jaw. "You didn't run," he said firmly. "You survived." A promise he wasn't afraid to make. Maya shook her head. "Adam, you don't understand. They're powerful. People like me don't win against people like them." Adam leaned forward. "I'm a single dad working a grocery job," he said. "I know what it feels like to be powerless." He touched her trembling hand. "But I also know what it means to fight anyway." Her eyes filled again, but this time, something else flickered behind the tears. A fragile, trembling hope. A moment that changed everything. A knock on the door shattered the moment. A hard, echoing bang. Maya jumped, clutching Ava so tightly, the baby whimpered. Her entire body froze. Her face drained of color. "Adam," she whispered, voice breaking. "What if it's them?" Adam stood slowly. He didn't know who was behind the door. But for the first time in years, he felt something burning in his chest. A fierce need to protect. Whoever was on the other side, whatever storm was coming, he wouldn't let it touch her or the baby. Not while they were in his home. Not while he was standing there. He reached for the doorknob. And the world held its breath. The knock on the door wasn't the danger she expected, but it brought a truth that could destroy everything she was trying to rebuild. A door that shouldn't have opened. The knocking grew louder, sharper, urgent. 3 heavy thuds. Then silence. Maya stood frozen, clutching Ava so tightly, the baby whimpered. Her breaths came in short, panicked bursts. "Adam, don't open it," she whispered. Her voice trembled like the thin thread holding her life together. Adam placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. "It's okay. I'm here." But even he wasn't sure. Whoever stood on the other side was pounding like a person who didn't believe in boundaries. He opened the door anyway. A familiar face in the shadows. It wasn't the hospital director. It wasn't security. It wasn't the doctor who framed her. It was someone else entirely. A woman, soaked by the last remnants of rain, breathing hard, hair sticking to her forehead. Someone who clearly ran all the way here. Adam blinked. Grace. Grace, his neighbor from next door, grabbed his arm. "Adam, thank God you're home." "I saw." Her voice trailed off when she saw Maya in the corner, baby in arms, eyes wide with terror. Grace froze. "Oh," she whispered. "It's true." Rumors travel faster than truth. Grace stepped inside, closing the door behind her. Her eyes darted between Adam and Maya. "I didn't believe the rumors at first," Grace said quietly. "But I work at the small clinic across town. Word spread fast this morning." Maya stiffened. "What rumors?" she asked in a voice that barely existed. Grace exhaled slowly. "That you escaped. That you assaulted a doctor. That you stole medication. That you ran because you were guilty." Maya shook her head violently.
No.
"No, that's not true. I didn't." "I know," Grace said softly. "I can see it in your eyes." But the world didn't see truth. It saw what it wanted to see. The world already judged her. Grace placed her hands on her hips, breathing hard. "There are people looking for you," she continued. "Not police, not yet. But hospital staff. They're calling it an internal emergency. I heard 2 of them say, 'Find her before the story spreads.'" Maya's knees almost buckled. Ava began to cry again, sensing the terror. Adam stepped closer to Maya, shielding her with his presence. "They won't come here," he said firmly. Grace shook her head. They will. If they think she's dangerous, they'll check every street. I'm not dangerous, Maya whispered, her voice cracking. They're the dangerous ones. A friend Adam didn't expect. Grace turned to Adam. What exactly is happening? Who is she? Adam didn't hesitate. She's a nurse who got framed for trying to do the right thing. Grace's eyebrows shot up. That makes more sense, she said. I've seen how the hospital director operates. He doesn't let scandals exist. He buries them. Maya's hands trembled. So you believe me? Grace crouched down in front of her. I don't need paperwork to know when someone's telling the truth, she said. And no mother holding a baby like that is a threat to anyone. Maya broke then, a silent tear sliding down her cheek. The plan no one expected to make. Grace turned serious, lowering her voice. You can't stay hidden for long. But maybe we can buy time. Time for what? Adam asked. To figure out who really did this, Grace said. And how to prove Maya innocent before the hospital ruins her life permanently. Maya shook her head. You're risking too much. They'll come after anyone who helps me. Grace raised her chin. I'm a nurse too, she said. And I've seen enough injustice. I won't stand and watch another nurse get destroyed. Something fierce flickered in Grace's eyes, something Maya hadn't seen in a long time. Solidarity. A baby's cry that broke the room. Ava suddenly cried louder, her tiny voice echoing through the small apartment. Maya panicked. She needs formula, but I used the last of it yesterday. Adam immediately reached into his cabinet. I have some, he said. Leo was formula-fed too. I still keep extra. He handed her the can. Maya stared as if he'd given her a miracle. You're both being too kind, she whispered. Grace smiled sadly. Kindness isn't expensive, Maya. It's just rare. The footsteps outside. A sudden sound made all three freeze. Footsteps. Heavy. Slow. Right outside the apartment. A man's voice murmured something on the phone. Maya's heart stopped. Adam quickly turned off the lights. Stay quiet, he whispered. Grace moved to the window and peeked through the curtain, just a sliver. Then she turned back, face pale. It's one of the hospital guards. Maya covered her mouth, shaking violently. No, they found me. A lie that could save her life. The footsteps grew louder. Grace took a deep breath. I'll go out there, she whispered. I'll tell them I didn't see anyone. That you're not here. Maya shook her head.
No.
They'll catch you lying. They'll fire you. Let them try, Grace whispered fiercely. Injustice only wins when good people stay silent. She slipped out the back door quietly. Adam stood by the front door, ready to defend if needed. Maya held Ava close, whispering prayers into her hair. A new kind of fear. Minutes felt like hours. Muffled voices echoed outside, Grace's and the guards. Then footsteps faded. But Maya didn't relax. Not even when Grace returned. Not even when the danger momentarily passed. Because now she knew. They were searching for her. They were getting closer. And the storm she thought she'd escaped was far from over. Adam put a hand on her shoulder. We'll get through this, he whispered. But Maya knew the truth. To survive what was coming, it wouldn't just take hope. It would take courage none of them knew they had. Sometimes the people who fall apart in front of you end up being the ones who hold your world together. The moment she opened that drawer, her entire body froze. The next morning, after the storm finally stopped, Amelia quietly stepped into Daniel's small kitchen, her baby sleeping against her chest. Everything felt strangely peaceful. Too peaceful, until she opened the drawer to put away a spoon and a hospital ID badge fell out. Not hers. Not Daniel's. Someone else's. Someone who looked dangerously familiar. Her breath hitched, her fingers trembling as she picked it up. Why would Daniel, a janitor, a single dad, a stranger who saved her life, have the ID badge of the woman who ruined her career? Her heart began pounding, and in that instant, she wondered, had she walked straight into another trap? He was hiding something, and it was big. Daniel had been kind, gentle, and unbelievably patient. The way he'd held her crying baby in the rain, the way he'd wrapped them both in his jacket, It felt too good to be real. So when she discovered evidence that connected Daniel to the very hospital board that had cost her job, her home, and her future, her world tilted. Was he helping her out of compassion? Or was she simply part of something she didn't understand yet? Because one thing was certain, Daniel had secrets. And whatever he was hiding was about to change everything. The knock on the door wasn't gentle. It was a warning. Just as Amelia backed away from the drawer, trying to calm her spiraling thoughts, a loud, hard bang echoed across the house. Daniel rushed in from the hallway, instantly alert. Another knock, this time louder, impatient, almost threatening. Amelia clutched her baby closer, her heart racing. Daniel's expression darkened. He whispered, "Amelia, whatever happens, don't say a word." The baby in her arms whimpered softly. Someone outside shouted his name. This wasn't a simple visit. This was someone who came with demands or accusations. And Amelia suddenly realized Daniel's past had finally caught up to him. He'd been protecting her from the truth. The visitor's voice boomed through the door. A woman, stern, powerful, familiar. It was the same voice that had fired Amelia with cold indifference. The hospital administrator. And for her to show up all the way here, something wasn't right. Amelia saw fear flicker in Daniel's eyes. Fear she had never seen before. Why was he afraid of her? And more importantly, what had Daniel done to get someone so influential pounding on his door at dawn? Everything connected. Too perfectly. As the administrator continued shouting threats, Amelia felt an awful realization forming in her mind. Daniel worked at the same hospital. He'd shown up exactly when she needed help. He'd known how to take care of her baby's fever without hesitation. And now she finds the ID badge of someone connected to her downfall? Was any of this coincidence? Or had Daniel been watching her long before the night they met? Her body stiffened. Her heart squeezed painfully. For the first time since he'd saved her, she doubted him. But then, Daniel said something that shattered her suspicion. Daniel moved toward the door, then paused. He turned to Amelia, with eyes filled not with guilt, not with lies, but with heartbreaking fear. "Amelia, I never meant for you to find out like this," he whispered. "I was trying to protect you." Her chest tightened. Protect her? From what? From who? And why did he look like a man carrying the weight of a decision that had destroyed his own life? The administrator banged again, shouting threats that reached deeper than either expected. The truth slipped out, accidentally, shockingly, completely. When Daniel finally opened the door, the administrator shoved her way inside. Her eyes landed on Amelia and widened with fury. "You," she snapped. "So this is where you've been hiding?" Amelia stiffened. "Hiding? I lost my job because of you." But the administrator only scoffed and pointed at Daniel. "He's the one who exposed everything." Amelia's heart stopped. Exposed what? She looked at Daniel in disbelief, but he refused to meet her eyes. Daniel had risked everything for her. The administrator hurled accusations about confidential files, whistleblowing, disciplinary actions, and a massive internal investigation. Amelia staggered back. The truth was dizzying. Daniel hadn't been part of the people who ruined her career. He was the one who had fought from the shadows to reveal the corruption that destroyed her life. He had lost his position, his stability, and nearly his son's custody because he had chosen to expose the truth. And he had kept quiet because he didn't want her to blame herself. But now, for the first time, Amelia saw the whole picture. Daniel wasn't a stranger tied to her downfall. He was the only one who had stood up for her when she had no one. The night she found him in the rain, he wasn't saving her. They were saving each other.